We made it to the weekend. We made it to the weekend. We made it to the weekend. What's up, book team? Today I'm doing my January reading wrap-up. So I read 4 books in the month of January, which is drastically different than the 12 that I read in December. Yeah, work really gives your reading time a nice punch in the face. But you know what? That averages to about a book a week, so I am very happy with that. But anyway, on to the books. So the first book I read this year was All the Light We Cannot See by Doerr. If you have seen any other video that I've uploaded thus far, then you've probably heard the name already. And you probably know how much I adore that book. Reading that book basically made me feel as if I was starting the year off with a big bang. And unfortunately I do not have it with me, so I cannot show you how pretty the cover is. But when I get it back, you will be seeing a lot of it, I am sure. I wanted to read All the Light We Cannot See for the longest time, and finally I was able to get to it during the holidays, and it just absolutely blew me away. The book follows 2 perspectives during the World War II era. First is a blind girl who is living in France, and the second is a German boy who ends up joining Hitler Youth. You follow them as they grow up, and the entire book builds up to the main climax, which happens in the midst of the war. World War II is on my list of most fascinating time periods, so I instantly loved that about the book. But going past that, it was just a beautiful story to read. The characters are so memorable and you connect to them so easily. I have no words to explain the writing style because it was just incredible. It's so well structured, I feel as if the sentences were basically works of art in themselves. I could read Doerr's sentences for the rest of my life and be perfectly happy. The book was obviously very well researched, and obviously Doerr put a lot of thought into it. And on top of that, it was extremely educational. Basically, if I was an English teacher or a history teacher talking about this time period, I would teach this book in a heartbeat. You learn so much about not only the Nazi occupation in France, but also about the Nazis themselves. But I think this book impacted me more than the Diary of Anne Frank did. There's just an added level of tragedy in All the Light We Cannot See that you don't get in Anne Frank's diary or in many other World War II books. While we are still at the beginning of this year, I truly feel that this book is going to be my all-time favorite of this year. 1 billion stars out of 5. The second book I read this year is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee, Ahdieh. This story focuses on a young woman named Shahrazad who is seeking out revenge after her best friend has been murdered by a boy king who takes a new wife every single day only to kill her the next morning with a silk cord around her neck. This is a retelling of 1001 Nights, and I think it was a fairly successful retelling. I did enjoy this book, although the ending left me with a lot of questions. There were elements introduced in the book that I felt weren't well developed enough. I have a full review of this on my channel, which I will provide the link for. But in general, I did have fun reading it, and there is going to be a sequel that is coming out later this year, which I do plan on picking up. 3.5 out of 5 stars. The third book I read this month is A Monster Calls by Ness. Now, you have most certainly heard about this book if you've been following my channel. This is another book that absolutely blew me away. It follows a young boy by the name of Connor who is going through a tough time as his mother has been diagnosed with cancer. And one very dark night, a monster pays him a visit looking for the truth. And what is the truth? Well, you're gonna have to read it and find out, silly. This book had me sobbing by the end of it. It was just so lovely and moving, and this version has illustrations which I thought added so much to the story. If you want to know more about my thoughts, I will link you to my review of the book. But hands down, 5 out of 5 stars. And finally, I read Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I'm slightly cheating on this one because I didn't actually finish it until this week, but since I was doing a wrap-up video anyway, I decided to just throw it in there. This book focuses on a girl named Anna who is sent away to boarding school in France per her father's demand, and she is not happy about that in the slightest. Until she meets the handsome Etienne St. Clair, who quickly becomes her best friend and even more quickly gives her a bunch of conflicted feelings. I have not made a full review of this book yet, but when I do, I will link it. General quick thoughts though, this is exactly what I expected from a contemporary romance novel. It was cute, it was cheesy, it was fun. but not much else going for it. I did enjoy the dynamic between Anna and St. Clair, but I found the book to still stick to the same formulaic contemporary romance. Which is not a bad thing. It's exactly why I still read them, because I know what to expect, and usually it gets me out of slumps. But anyway, 3 out of 5 stars. And that is everything that I read during the month of January. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to be updated when I post my February TBR, then please hit that fancy dancy subscribe button. And leave me a comment telling me everything that you read in January. What are your favorite books of the year so far? Is there a book that came out in January that you would love to get to but you just haven't had the opportunity to yet? Just give me a January update. Side note though, did anyone else have a weird week this week? Because I certainly did. I was just in a completely different emotional place and I'm not entirely sure why. There must have been something funky in the water or in the stars or something because it was just super odd. But anyway, I hope you all are doing very well and I will talk to you next time. Bye! Seriously, I just absolutely love it. Oh my god, I just got a headache. Headache on me.